Hi, we're Katie and Dan in a van.
And this is our 2018 Ram Promaster.
We converted our van over about 6 months during the pandemic, and now it's complete, and we're super excited to give you a tour of our tiny home on wheels, Vangie.
Come on in.
Welcome to our van. Before we get into the details, I'll give you a sense of our overall layout. Our living space in this van is just under 80 square feet, and we decided to go with a galley kitchen into a dinette for our layout. You'll also notice that we do not have a indoor shower or wet bath. We decided that we wanted to keep a very open layout because I feel like in this small of a space, if you start adding in vertical walls, it can get a little bit claustrophobic. So later on in the tour, you'll see where our bathroom is. But overall, we really love our open space. Feels very light and airy and homey in here. So when you first come into the van, you are walking into our kitchen. The first thing you see is our fridge. This is a 12-volt NovaCool fridge, and it is super spacious. Right now, we are not living in the van, so it is very empty. But generally, we can fit a lot of food in here. It even has a freezer, which is great for storing ice cream and ice cubes for my homemade iced lattes. Above our fridge, we have our kitchen storage. Again, it's quite empty right now because we are not living in the van at the moment, but this is normally where we keep the majority of our food. And over here, we store most of our kitchen dishes, kettle, little blender, that sort of thing. Facing our sliding door and window is our kitchen sink, which actually conveniently swivels to the outside if we need to like rinse off our feet or something outside. And then we've just got a really big, deep sink. It was important to me that it would be easy for us to do dishes in here. So this sink is 9 inches deep and about 15 by 15 inches square. It also works for, washing your hair if you're in a pinch. Next to the sink, we have our Ramblewood 2-burner propane stove. Inside these lower cabinets is pretty much all our utilities. So we have all of our propane stuff in this cabinet, and underneath here is our gray water tank. We decided to keep all of our water tanks inside the van so that we could still use the van even if it's freezing temperature outside. So a lot of people mount their gray water tank externally, but ours is just right in here.
Everything to do with propane in the van lives in here. We have a sealed box for our main propane tank. It's a standard 20-pound tank that you would find in just a regular propane barbecue. That tank branches to 3 different sources. One is our stove, the other is our water heater, and lastly is our space heater, our furnace. We have a Propex HS2000 heater to heat this space. Our propane system has all the right safety features. The furnace is vented externally, same with the propane locker. If there was ever a leak, the propane would all head outside the van rather than in here. We also keep a carbon monoxide detector in the van just in case. Space is limited, so everything's packed in tightly. Right beside our propane locker are all the propane hoses connecting everything to our propane system. Beside that is our water heater, and below that is the back of our gray tank, our dirty water tank.
Along the driver's side of the van, we have this long, beautiful, uninterrupted counter space. So our countertops are actually like faux butcher block counters from IKEA. They're beautiful. We love them. And we really love having all of this space because we really like to cook. It was important to us that we had lots of space for preparing food because we like to cook. We don't want to eat out all the time. And so just having this as our counter space would have been pretty minimal. But this gives us tons of room to prepare food. Of course, underneath this countertop is most of our kitchen storage. So we have a bank of 4 drawers and then this little secret compartment, which I'll tell you more about in just a second. This top drawer here is just our primary kind of cutlery, spice drawer. Everything that you can need while you're cooking is in here. Underneath that is kind of our bonus drawer. Sometimes we keep camera gear, other stuff. Again, we're not living in the van right now, so it's kind of empty, but you can fit a lot in these drawers actually. And our bottom one is another big pantry drawer for us. So this is where our pots and pans are, and also where we keep a lot of our like heavier dry food. Moving away from our kitchen storage, this little area here is our sneaky bathroom. So this top drawer is pretty much where we keep all of our toiletries. So, shampoo, conditioner, toothbrushes, all that kind of stuff. We have a very random assortment of things right now because a lot of it's in our condo. But that is the toiletries drawer, and beneath that is our bathroom. So this face actually completely comes off. You can set it aside, and then we can slide out our composting toilet. So this is super convenient to have when you're on the road. We do tend to camp at a lot of like campsites or places where there are public bathrooms, but if you're wild camping and you need to go, it's really nice to have this. Some people think it's weird that we have a toilet in the middle of our van, but let's be real, Dan and I have been together for almost 9 years now, so we're cool with it. It really doesn't bother us, and it's much nicer than going in the woods, in my opinion. So for those of you who aren't grossed out by this and are curious about the details, this is a Nature's Head composting toilet. It's urine diverting, so at the front, we've got the pee jug, and in the back is the composting section where the number 2 goes, and then we've got a crank on the side that basically helps you churn all that stuff up with the coconut core that you keep in there, so it dries it out, composts it, and it keeps it from smelling. Also, it is vented externally, so on the side here we've got a tube with a fan in it that's powered by our electrical system that continuously draws air out of the composting chamber and out into the world. So it never gets smelly in the van. It's like a primary concern that a lot of people mention, but it doesn't smell. And it's really nice to have. When we decided that we wanted to have a hideaway bathroom to keep the space really open, we knew that we were going to have to put our toilet on some kind of drawer. And obviously because it's not only holding this toilet, which can get quite heavy when it's full, it's also going to be holding the weight of a full-grown human. So the drawer slides that we got are 400-pound drawer slides. So they're super heavy duty. And then we've just got this homemade drawer platform that it's sitting on. So far it hasn't ripped out of the wall of the van. We're good to go. But we did have to get pretty heavy duty setup to hold this. So you can basically just use it as a regular toilet. After we're done, you can just throw any TP into the composting section and then give it a quick spray with this vinegar and water mix, and you are good to go. Moving out of our kitchen and bathroom area, we get into our dining room, living room, and bedroom. And above that, we have more upper cabinet storage. So this is basically where we keep our clothes. Again, pretty empty right now, but there's actually a surprising amount of storage in these. So these are all 15 inches tall and about 12 inches deep. And we fit all of our stuff. So these 2 are mine, these 2 are Dan's, and we get all of our clothes and personal items into that area. Something that's kind of interesting about our van in terms of all of our cabinets, the lower cabinets and the upper cabinets, are actually from Home Depot. So it's kind of your typical like DIY at home, like build your kitchen kit, sort of like IKEA cabinets. And we modified them to fit them into the van. So that included like cutting the top corner onto an angle so we could fit it into our curved corners, and all kinds of other stuff. Obviously we bolted them into the frame, into our wood studs and stuff, but we think that using IKEA cabinets or Home Depot cabinets can be a really good solution if you, like us, are beginner van converters and aren't carpenters by trade. So I think it sped up our process a lot. Obviously there were some kind of unique things we had to do to make them fit into a van setting, but I think it turned out pretty good. So that's our upper cabinets. Moving back into this area, we have a table that is made out of the same material as our countertop. So it's from IKEA as well. And it's on a Lagoon swivel mount, so we can easily move it around, rotate it, all of that good stuff. In the back of the van here, we've got some RV windows that we installed ourselves on both sides. And we also made these DIY curtains inspired by a DIY by Van Life Sagas, who we love to watch here on YouTube. And yeah, basically you just unclip the straps and then the curtains can roll down. I just made them out of blackout blinds that I found at Walmart, and it keeps this area pretty dark at night. For the rest of the windows, we just pop up Reflectix that has magnets on it to make the space dark to sleep at night. In addition, in our dinette / bedroom area, we've got these puck lights that are underneath our upper cabinets, and they all just have a touch switch in them, which is really nice. On the ceiling, we've got LEDs that are on a dimmer, and our ceiling actually, we followed another Van Life Sagas DIY to make a slatted ceiling. So we stained these pine slats, and then behind them is just black plywood. And I think it ended up giving a really, really nice effect. Our ceiling and our countertops and our floor all are a very similar color, which we just very luckily matched by using photos from different websites, but it all came together very well. Our floor is just a vinyl tongue and groove floor, and another big challenge with our build is that we did this during lockdown here in Ontario, so pretty much everything we bought was through curbside pickup, so we just had to compare different website photos to make sure that everything would match and like fit where it needed to fit. So that was another interesting challenge of our conversion, but I think it all came together very nicely. Another important component of this dinette area is it's where all of our utilities are. So this bench is our whole off-grid electrical system. This bench is our plumbing system, and this bench across the back is just some extra storage, basically our trunk.
The heart of our system is our batteries. These are 2 lithium iron phosphate batteries from Renogy. Each of them is 170 amp hours. We can charge our batteries in 3 different ways. First, our solar. We have 2 solar panels on the roof. They're also from Renogy, 150 watts each. We also charge from our alternator, the car's battery. We have a 40 amp DC to DC charger, also from Renogy. Lastly, we have our shore power charger. On the side of the van, we have an outlet you can plug in. You can charge off of your house or plug in at a campground. That's a 20 amp AC to DC charger. And that's what powers everything. Through our fuse box, that's where the lights, the fan, the fridge, the water pump, the water monitor, the fan for the heater, everything runs off of that. We also have our inverter. That's where you get these regular wall plugs here inside the van for charging your laptop or bigger electronics. We have a 1,000 watt inverter. Most of our electrical is hidden, but there's a few places you'll see it in the van. This is our Renogy solar charge controller. On there we can see how much power we're getting from the solar panels at any given time. Over here we have our Victron Energy battery monitor. Connects with Bluetooth to our phone so that we can look here or on our phones to see how much juice we have left in the batteries. This fancy thing is just a light switch. We can turn on and off the power or even dim it and make it brighter. We have this light switch here and light switches beside the sink on the side of the counter. We've got lights on the ceiling, lights over the bed, above the counter, and of course deck lights on the floor. We have 2 main spots for charging a phone right here. You can set your phone on the shelf as you go to bed and on the side of this cabinet as well. In case you're wondering how we work from the road, the secret is this thing. It's a WeBoost. We have an antenna on the roof of the back of the van that goes through an amplifier and comes out here. Basically, it allows us to take cell signal from outside the van, amplify it, and connect to it from inside the van with our phones. That allows us to use our cell phone's data to get internet on the road.
So the bench on the passenger side of the van is where our plumbing system lives. So we have a 21-gallon fresh water tank, we have a SureFlow pump and accumulator, and basically we just have our water splitting into hot and cold, and both the hot and the cold water run to our sink and our outdoor shower, which is accessible from the back of the van. I'm pretty proud of myself because I figured this out all on my own by watching many YouTube tutorials and placing many curbside pickup orders from Home Depot, but it all came together and works very well. We haven't had any issues with it at all. Finally, we've got this water level sensor in the freshwater tank, so that is wired up to the display right next to our sink at the sliding door, so we can always see how much water we've got left. If you're curious to know more about how we did our plumbing setup, let us know in the comments and we could always do a video diving in more depth. But that is the plumbing system.
Let's head around back and I'll show you the trunk. When we're on the road, we sometimes like to open the doors and enjoy the view, but right now we're parked at Katie's parents' house. We're doing some renovations on the van. Let's take a look inside. At the back of the van, we have this full width storage area. It allows us to store big things like lawn chairs and all of our van essentials back here as well. We've got cargo nets just to keep things in place so they don't shift around too much. This is also where we connect our outdoor shower. And just around the side is where we can plug into electrical. Thanks for watching our van tour.
As we mentioned, we are working on some renovations, so make sure you subscribe so you see our updated van tour in a few months once we've made some tweaks to perfect Van G. You're also not going to want to miss our future van adventures. We're planning to head to California next year, so make sure you stick around for that.
And we'll see you in the next video.
Bye!